There are those who will argue Christopher Columbus really did not discover America. There were people there already. The Indians were there. And there are those who will say the Vikings traveled to North America centuries before Columbus. Leif Erikson, the Norseman, discovered America. But these people really do not understand the meaning behind the phrase, Columbus discovered America. Of course, the Native Americans inhabited both North and South America before Columbus and the Spanish came, and Leif Erikson did establish a colony in North America in the medieval ages. However, none of the pre-Columbian discoveries had any impact on the rest of the world. The American Indians did not know of the continents they lived on, and they could not communicate this reality to the rest of the world because they lacked a written language and the technology and desire to go to other continents. The Norsemen's colony disappeared, and we did not learn of it until after the new land had been settled. Columbus's great discovery had a monumental impact on the history of the world. His finding a route to America opened up 2 new continents to the world and opened up the world to the Native Americans. To deny or belittle this is to deny reality. Christopher Columbus, who lived from 1451 to 1506, was an explorer, cartographer, and adventurer from the Republic of Genoa. In 1492, he led an expedition from Spain and discovered the islands of the West Indies. He died believing he had found a westerly route to Asia, but in reality, he had opened up the continents of North America and South America for European discovery and colonization. 50 years ago, Americans viewed Columbus as a hero, and school children across the country had Columbus Day off from school. Today, students in only a few states honor Columbus, and people in many parts of our country view him with great dislike. Columbus Day is celebrated in some places of the United States on the second Monday of October, sometimes falling on the day he discovered America, October 12, 1492. Beginning in 711, Spain was ruled by a foreign power called the Moors. The Moors were Muslim conquerors from Africa and had tried to convert all of Spain to Islam, imposing a special tax on non-Muslims and treating non-Muslims as second-class citizens. From the very beginning of Muslim rule, the Spanish had waged a war against the Moors called the Reconquista. In 1492, the Spanish defeated the last Muslim army, and after this 700-year war, Spain was filled with unbounded confidence and believed it was a chosen country to explore, Christianize, and conquer the world. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain, fresh from their victory over the Muslims, agreed to allow the explorer, Christopher Columbus, to use Spanish ships and men to go on his quest. Columbus set out in 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. His goals were to find a new trade route to Asia, to find gold and bring it back to Spain, to map and explore the land he reached, to claim new land for Spain, and to spread Catholic Christianity throughout the world. Columbus believed that by sailing west from Spain, he would eventually arrive in India. After approximately 30 days, Columbus found a new land. However, as we know it, it was not Asia. It was an island in the Bahamas. Columbus believed he had found India and called the natives Indians. Columbus made 4 separate journeys to the Bahamas and established Spanish forts, though he could not find gold, and was even arrested by the Spanish for being an incompetent and tyrannical governor of the new lands. Columbus's men were so intent on finding gold that they mistreated many of the Indians they encountered. Historical accounts document torture and murder by some of Columbus's men. Columbus was either unable or unwilling to stop them. The Spanish king and queen arrested Columbus, had him brought back to Spain in chains, tried him for incompetence and for the cruel treatment some of his men perpetrated against the Indians, and jailed him. Yet in 6 weeks, the king released him. Columbus's legacy in the New World is mixed. He discovered America and opened up new lands for the rest of the world. Before Columbus, Indians in the Americas worshipped multiple gods. Many practiced torture and polygamy, and some practiced cannibalism as a way of life. Europeans who came and settled the Americas brought monotheism and ended polygamy. Eventually, they established the United States of America and all other countries of North and South America. Columbus's discovery of America led to the founding of these modern nations. Columbus has also been the focus of those who argue that the European conquest of the Americas was an immoral act against the Indians. The group of Indians Columbus first encountered, the Taínos, were extinct 50 years later. Most Indians who came into contact with the Spanish and other Europeans died from new diseases such as smallpox. The natives had no immunity built up against these illnesses. European disease is believed to have killed up to 90% of the Indian population. And the superior military strength of the Europeans made it easier to destroy the Indian culture. Many negative beliefs about Christopher Columbus and the Spanish who commissioned his explorations are historically false. Historians called revisionists have created a false history, or they have underreported, which means not reported everything, in order to paint an untrue picture of Columbus in Spain. Authors Michael Allen and Larry Schweikart make the following points about this false history. Number 1, revisionist historians say Columbus committed genocide against the Indians. But genocide means a deliberate attempt to kill a whole people. Columbus and his men never had a goal to kill all the Indians. In fact, Columbus was arrested for poorly controlling his soldiers. Most Indians who died due to European contact died because of diseases such as smallpox. Neither the Spanish nor the Indians knew how diseases were transmitted, and there were no vaccines available at the time. 2, revisionists claim native populations of up to 60 million, but more reasonable estimates range from 1.8 million to 8 million. Historians do not argue with the fact that European diseases killed up to 90% of Indians. However, revisionist historians have exaggerated the numbers of Indians killed to make it appear that the tragedy was worse and to claim genocide. However, the Spanish had no policy of exterminating Indians. In fact, the Spanish wanted to include the Indians in the Spanish Empire. 3, some diseases spread through native populations before Europeans arrived. Some Indians died of disease before the arrival of Europeans. 4, native populations engaged in balance of power tactics, similar to those used by European countries during the 1900s, and many constantly battled with each other before Columbus arrived. The Aztecs controlled the area of present-day Mexico City and ruled their neighboring tribes with unbelievable ferocity. A conservative estimate numbers annual Aztec human sacrifices in the thousands. When Spanish soldiers came to conquer the Aztecs, many Aztec enemies volunteered to fight with the Spanish. Before the 1960s, American students and historians focused on the positive elements of Columbus's discovery of America, and all America celebrated him. In 1971, Columbus Day became a federal holiday. After this, however, certain states began to cancel the celebration of Columbus. In California, for example, students do not celebrate Columbus Day. On the other hand, New Yorkers, especially Italian Americans, herald Columbus as a hero. New York City has a huge Columbus Day parade with over 35,000 people every year. Unfortunately, many American students today do not know anything about Christopher Columbus.